This was really a follow-up from Simon's talk earlier today, where he was mentioning that if you're SSHing into your Docker container, you're doing it wrong. I similarly was frustrated that I'm deploying a Go binary, and part of the point of Go is it's statically linked. Why am I bringing along an entire Ubuntu distro into my Docker image when really all I want is this 5 meg binary and maybe glibc, and that's about it. So I invented this thing. It's a terrible name. I should have called it Just Enough Operating System, but that acronym was already taken, but that would have been much cooler. This is an image builder designed to build Docker images, so it builds very minimal. It's a minimal distro. It doesn't even include a kernel. It can't possibly boot. It's just what you want to have in your Docker image. The bare minimum is 20 megabytes, which is glibc, BusyBox shell, and the OPKG tool, which is enough to pull in other bits of the distro if you want to in your thing.
Kind of like a chroot.
But it has files in the chroot, yes. So it's, and that's it. So yeah, if you go there, try it out. I haven't done much work on it other than get it going, but there's a Python pip and things. You can install those packages already in there, and there's a Ruby one and a Python 3 and a Python 2 and a couple others, and do whatever you like. If there's any other packages you'd like to see in there, they're pretty easy for me to add. Yeah, I should mention that. So it's really, I'm just claiming credit for all the work Open Embedded did. So rewinding a bit, you want to build an image. It's a little bit silly that if you look at Disk Image Builder, for example, it starts by getting a general purpose distro and then removes pieces. I instead wanted to just start from nothing and then add pieces till I got what I wanted. Does it have a kernel in it? Does it have a kernel in it? That's too much. Right. So this is, I looked at what the embedded world was using, because they're used to doing minimal customized distros, and they're used to cross-compiling, so there's no need to boot the resulting distro as part of building the distro. So this is built on top of Open Embedded. It's a pretty straightforward Open Embedded application, use of Open Embedded, that just builds the whole tool chain and distro and stuff. And the instructions on how to rebuild it if you want to are all at that URL. And how to use it if you don't want to build it but just want to use it, that's also there. So anyway, that's all. It was just a FYI thing.
Thank you. You went over time, but I don't think that's a problem. Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be a queue.
No, that talk was the last one.
No, Jamie's going to watch one.
No, you missed the bus. Previous one.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god, I've ranted about this as well.
What?
That everything's different.
Handheld mics and go. All right. This is pretty quick. It's something I did in like 2 minutes, so I'm pretty sure all the syntax is wrong, but it's a fairly good idea. All of the clients got forked from Nova Client and then decided what they wanted to do in their own little world. Therefore, everything is different. So if you do Swift, you make a connection. It's got a user and a key. Keystone has a lot of stuff which is at least correct for v3. Glance doesn't accept username and password at all. You need to do that already and then get a token. The names are all different. So in Swift, it's called a key. I think in Cinder, it's called an API key to pass through a password. Now we've got to go through all the problems of like dealing with putting federation and Kerberos and stuff into all these clients. Stop it. Like, seriously, I've been banging this drum since Hong Kong, and I'm sick of it, like, still having to explain to people that there's a better way of doing it. So we've done session objects in Keystone Client since, I think I started them in Hong Kong. The idea is you make a session, that's got your transport parameters, so, things like CA certificates and stuff go in there. You create an auth plugin, and the auth plugin can be anything. So there's v3 password, there's v2, Federation is all going into these auth plugins, Kerberos is going into all these auth plugins. Create it once and reuse it everywhere. It looks the same in all the clients. The only one I'm aware of that doesn't support session is Swift, because it's just a nightmare. It means that you get token reuse, so you create the auth plugin once. All of the clients use the same plugin. To try and do that otherwise is a whole bunch of new parameter names to pass things through. Stops each client dealing with its own auth, because seriously, between Federation and all these other things, we just cannot hack all of these options into each of the clients to make this stuff work. Consistent re-authentication, if the token expires, the session will get you a new one and the client never has to deal with it. The formatting is better. There's a loading mechanism in there for CLI and config files. So if you are writing an also config file, you need to talk to a different service. There is a standard way of loading all of these options from config file that is like 2 lines of Keystone Client Helper. And that way you will be guaranteed to be compatible with it, whichever new way of doing authentication that Keystone comes up with. So we stop having to come in and hound people about, V3 auth and this isn't compatible with Kerberos and all sorts of other stuff I'm still having to deal with. So that's it. Stop it. Seriously, if you've got anywhere that's using a username and password directly into a client, rip it out. And if you don't know how, find me on IRC.
Yep, Tony's right. We are done. So find some friends, find some beer, find some food, find some people from other mini comps. Tell them about the awesomeness of OpenStack. Maybe you'll learn some good things about science. Thank you for coming.